You're watching Unrendered on IKTV. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at iConcepts. I am Tony Regisford, and I'm chatting with Dr. the Honorable Linton Lewis. Dr. Lewis, you had me so confused at the end of that last segment. I said you were the candidate for West St. George, and you reminded me that you're the candidate for East St. George.
That's a simple mistake. Really.
Yes, but no Freudian slip there, really, either. I mean, you are firmly placed in the East St. George constituency. Let's talk about that. I mean, I know we can carry on about the foreign policy and so on, but we've only got a limited time on this program. Are you heading towards victory this time?
Yes, and the party. Yes.
Most definitely.
Oh, yes.
So your anticipated opponent, if I should put it that way, is the current Senator Camilo Gonsalves.
Mine? I don't anticipate any.
You are not anticipating him as an opponent?
No one has been mentioned.
Yes. So you are not doing any sort of intelligence work on the ground to figure out who your opponent might be?
There's no need for me to do so. The intelligence work between myself and the people.
Right.
And to find out how best I can look after the welfare interests of the people.
So really to you it matters not who is the
No, it doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make a difference.
No. If some people want to commit political suicide, then they can go ahead. But it doesn't make a difference.
You're saying that Senator Gonsalves will be on that political suicide route?
I didn't say
Should
that.
he enter the race?
I didn't say that. I said who wants to do that is up to them. But the fact is that my focus really is on how best I can improve the lives of the people of East St. George.
You contested that seat twice before, and you lost. And I know we've discussed this over and over. What's different this time around?
With me or with respect to the political landscape?
Well, everything. You and the political landscape.
It's vastly different. You know, at first, when I went to East St. George, I think I needed about 2,000 votes to pull back. You know, at that time, Clayton Morgan had beaten Louis Jones by about 1,500, and Storky John had about 500 votes of his own. Now, I only need 140 votes to win. In addition to that, the party is growing stronger and stronger by the minute. We have seen that we were able to capture 4 seats in the last general elections. We are now 7-8.
Yes.
And it is unheard of in this environment, especially in a place like St. Vincent, for you to come back from a 7-8 situation and win. We also see the government involved in a meaningful way in self-destruction. For example, there's a tremendous amount of crisis management going on in St. Vincent the Grenadines at this time. There are promises made with respect to the major project, the airport, that are not being fulfilled and cannot be fulfilled with respect to the cost of it, in respect to the timing of it. And
yes, I'm leaving you to talk, but I have to challenge you.
Go ahead.
At some stage. You brought up the airport, and you say there are promises
incidental, yes,
that are being made that are not being
fulfilled.
What about the airport that is not being fulfilled?
No, I spoke about the cost of it.
Yes.
You've heard now, at one time it's going to cost very little, 589 million, now it's over 700 and something million, and the cost rising.
What is the real cost to the government? What is the sovereign debt accrued on the back of the construction of the Argyle International Airport?
One doesn't know precisely what it is as yet. We know that the government came to Parliament some months ago for $208 million worth of finance to be spent, which was structured in the form of land sales and loans and so on, capital structured in that way. But at the end of the day, the impression was given that there would not have been any
debt at all.
Yes.
I'm not aware of that, but I'm saying,
the impression that was
I'm saying to you that I'm not aware of that. But taking you on what you said, what is your threshold, given the size of the project, the importance of it? I'm assuming that you think an international airport is a desirable thing to have. It's my assumption, correct?
Yes. Well, we don't have a problem. The airport is on
Yes.
stream.
Yes.
And you know, as to whether or not we should have an international airport is not of issue.
No, but it's
at this time.
important for me to understand whether you think it is a desirable project. As if somebody gave you an airport tomorrow,
That's, you see, you have
Yes.
to be very careful. The word desire is a generic term. Because if you're saying that it's going to be financially feasible or viable, I don't see it happening.
so that's
in
the
my
point.
lifetime.
That's the point I'm getting at.
Yes, I see.
What would be your threshold? How much sovereign debt do you think the government should accrue to justify the airport? What is your cutoff point?
I can't say that.
So if they accrued
I-
$300 million worth of
can't
debt, is
say
that too much?
I can't say that. I am not intimately involved in the construction of the Argyle International
But you must have a
Airport.
position, though. You
But
must.
you
You
have a
must.
position, but not a
Yes.
speculative one. For someone who is actually trained in finance, I think I'd rather have far more information at my fingertips with respect to its cost and benefit analysis
Let
to
me
be
tell-
able
let me-
to make that statement.
Let me put the question. Let me phrase the
Yes.
question in another way. The NDP is the government of the day. Linton Lewis is the Minister of Finance, or you're even the Prime Minister. You know, you are in a decision-making position, and you have the people saying we want an international airport, and you set about getting an international airport. What would Linton Lewis's threshold be in terms of how much debt would you take this country into to achieve what is being achieved out at Argyle?
There are lots of extenuating factors. There are a lot of variables that will go into the mix before one can make such a definitive statement. We did indicate that the airport will cost around $1.2 billion. You have a lot of factors. For example, the state of the economy, the issue of prioritization. What would we give priority to at a particular point in time? Would we delay and go for improvement in health or in education and security, depending on the prevailing circumstances?
Has the
So it's
economy-
difficult. There are
has
too
the-
many variables.
Has the economy of St. Vincent severely suffered because of the construction of the international airport?
I know it has suffered.
Has it severely?
It has
is
suffered.
Is it beyond a measure of a little sacrifice here and there, or is it really detrimental? That project has been detrimental.
It has suffered.
to
And you know,
the economy.
we're not hearing much about the cost benefits analysis of the airport. It has suffered to the extent that quite a lot of a country's finances have been transferred to be spent. In addition to that,
To the airport?
To the airport is in addition
Wait,
to
from what areas?
the economy. When you sell land and you put it towards, it could have been put placed elsewhere. You have an opportunity cost situation. In addition to that, you have.
And you're saying it is not worth it.
No,
The sale of
that's
lands.
a different question. I'm answering the question you asked me.
Yeah.
And the other issue is that we have a very large project, the largest perhaps in the history of this country. But we're not seeing the level of economic activity being derived from it. We're not seeing any sort of business ventures arising out of the construction of the airport, within the vicinity of the airport.
Yes.
We're not seeing any overwhelming number of persons employed directly from the construction
Do you know what the
of the
workforce
airport.
is there now? Isn't it over 300?
Well, we've always heard over 300, but it's a very large project. And therefore, there ought to have been far more than that been involved. And then there ought to have been incidental employment activity arising out of it.
Given the way the airport is being financed, do you think it's really a fair statement to say that just willy-nilly you should have 1,000, 1,500 people working out there?
It's not wi- it's
and
not-
then you saddle the project with a massive bill, and then you turn around in opposition and you criticize that very thing.
No, but you see, I'm answering the question that you asked me, but if you want me to go into another one, I will.
You see, you have to decide what you want.
But no, but you asked me a different question now. See, asking about fairness and equity. Now, the issue with fairness is that when you are going to engage in a project of that magnitude, you have to be very cautious of the developmental needs of the country as a whole. And you have to have a very good appreciation of the impact that that project will have on the economic activity of the country. Now, we're not seeing that level of
Let me ask you a
economic
direct
impact.
question again. Are you saying that that project has had a detrimental impact on the rest of the economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
It must have a detrimental impact. It must. I mean,
To the point that we would be far better off now and in the future without the airport.
It must. If you are spending
so
money.
Therefore, you cannot support that project then?
No, the issue is this. You're speaking about at this time. It must have a detrimental impact because we're not seeing any large benefits being derived from it at this time. That is why I'm saying with respect to its financial viability and feasibility, that is something that cost benefits analysis will show, and I don't see it in my lifetime because it will take a long time before that the operations, the function of that airport will come anywhere close to being breaking even or come close to giving the sort of benefits to the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines that we anticipate.
Would it be a project that you would have embarked on? If you were in Dr. Gonsalves' position, would you, Linton Lewis, have embarked on that?
It's possible. It is possible.
After all that you have said?
No, yes, it's possible.
Yes.
It's possible. It depends, as I say, it depends at the time, it depends at the time on the prevailing economic circumstances. It also depended at the time on the manner in which I will structure the finance that will build the airport. It depends that on that time, the impact it will have on the other sectors of the economy. And perhaps the airport would have been put on stream in a much easier way if there was attention paid, let's say, to the agricultural sector, to the tourism sector. That would have assisted in generating that level of economic activity to ease the lives of the people and perhaps to give more revenues to the government to be able to put towards the airport.
I accept that we took a segue on this airport topic, and every time we are here on Unrendered, you in particular, we seem to spend a lot of time on this airport. And I must say, I never really get a definitive position from you.
Tell me what position you want to have.
Definitively,
tell me. Let me see if I can help.
Do you support the international airport, the construction of the international, as it is now, as the procedure, the process, the whole financing mechanism, everything? Do you support that?
You asked, that question is very wide. There may be certain things that I would support and other things that I may not agree with. And the word support, again, is very generic. The fact is that there is an international airport that's been built at this time. It engaged a tremendous amount of the country's financial resources.
So are you saying it's the wrong time?
And no. I'm saying it is there. And it is not for us to be discussing it on hindsight, but as to what we will do on our way forward. How best are we going to utilize the scarce resources that we have to maximize the return that we anticipate and to be able to find sufficient to go into the construction of the international airport and to create a level of economic activity that is satisfactory here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to generate employment. So I don't think we really should be going on whether we should or should not, or support or not support. To my mind, is how do we make the best of a bad situation?
Dr. Lewis, yes, the segue was you were talking about the various crises, as you put it, and trying to say why you're going to win your seat, because the political landscape is in your favor. I think that's what you're saying. Plus, you, Linton Lewis, you are entrenching yourself, and you are, busy. You're engaged in constituency work, and with your own polling. Tell me, what is your prediction? Anytime the election is called, how overwhelmingly do you think you'll win that seat?
But I've answered the question before.
No, you haven't.
But I feel I will win it.
Yes.
And I think the New Democratic Party will win overwhelmingly.
We'll get on to that, but your personal margin, you're going to win that seat, 500 votes?
Yes, by that or more. By that or more.
500, minimum 500 votes.
By that or more. Because I think that people are going to be brave enough to make their presence felt. And I should win by that or more.
We're at the end of our second segment. When we come back, we'll pick it up from where we left off. This is Unrendered on IKTV. My guest is Dr. the Honorable Linton Lewis. More with Dr. Lewis when we come back.